But I'd like to talk about the journey that the Henllys have been on. When we both joined the school, Henllys was in a red category, and I think we quickly realised that we needed change. What was lovely was the fact that we both had leadership roles in different parts of the consortia. So the first thing we did was focus on curriculum design, appointing areas of learning and experience team leaders that could manage that change. The EAS supported us with that through network meetings and also through a challenge advisor that came in and supported the middle leaders in how to bring about curriculum change. Rhiannon then led the overview of it all through her experience previously. She was perfect for the role.
As Philippa had mentioned, we've both worked in leadership roles, but in separate parts of the EAS consortia. So I worked in another borough initially, but because of the shared events that were brought out regionally and nationally, it meant that I was able to join Henllys and to accelerate the journey that we were on, because Philippa and I's experiences to date were so similar. So what I did with regards to curriculum design is I took the offer of the sharing events that were promoted through the EAS, visiting other schools, which had a twofold. It was reassuring. It allowed us to make sure that what we had in place and the journey that we were on was accurate and was needed for us at Henllys. But it also gave food for thought for us to bring back then to the staff here, take that on board and move forward with that in terms of curriculum design. To the point that we were guessing, if you like. There was no right answers, no wrong answers as well. So we had to move forward with something suitable for us. To the point that we were recognised then as an LNS school, and an area of strength was our curriculum design. So a huge journey, a short space of time, very proactive, and working with EAS allowed us to really move forward and get to the place where we are now.
And what's lovely is we've gone full circle, because we've gone from being heavily supported by the EAS to actually now being a learning network school and actually leading in effective practice. So I think what was really important for us is to raise the quality of teaching and learning at Henllys, and the EAS supported the pedagogical shift towards the new curriculum. And then what was really useful was using shared documentation to ensure consistency and self-evaluation of teaching and learning. So what the EAS did was produce documentation where we could measure teaching, if you like, observe teachers and focus on challenge, differentiation and expectation, but using a common framework to ensure consistency, so that what we felt was high quality teaching and learning was also what the EAS felt were high quality teaching and learning. So we used that as a driver to raise standards here. Everybody understood the strengths and areas for development, but then what was also useful was having a school improvement partner come in from the EAS to quality assure our teaching and learning. And I've got to be honest, it really raised the standard of teaching and learning here. We also then have focused on walkthroughs, which really are useful in improving teacher practice.
So we took on board the ETLF guidance that was promoted through the EAS, with different opportunities for us to be able to share practice again, and also look at that common language behind differentiation and challenge expectations of learners, which raised the profile hugely within the school. And we used that for teaching assistants as well as teachers, so that it was whole school and that everybody was on board. So within observations, the whole working party all had a very shared understanding. We then adopted walkthroughs, which was financially supported by the EAS also, as well as the workshops. Leaders, we appointed a TLR holder specifically for innovation. They led walkthroughs within our school. That enabled teachers to take on a variation of strategies to develop learners and raise profiles, and also for us to really consider the MAT and more able learners in challenging them appropriately, because we had a lot in place for our lower ability learners, but in terms of really pushing forward and helping children to achieve their full potential, the work through programme allowed us to really consider a very broad range of opportunities.
I think what the EAS have provided us with is support for staff depending on their roles and responsibilities. So we have teaching assistants that are now fully trained HLTAs, taking massive opportunities to professionally develop them, and they are now, teaching across the school as opposed to having supply teachers in. That's been huge for us. But also, there's been support for our middle leaders in leading the areas of learning and experience, our senior leaders who now are part of the SLT and lead on professional development and innovation. We also then have a teacher that went out as a sabbatical, a Welsh teacher that's now leading on Welsh pedagogy and MPQH training. So what's lovely is the PL opportunities are available for staff at all levels, depending on their roles and responsibilities, and it's been a huge benefit to us at Henllys.
And speaking personally, my entire teaching career has been within the region, which has meant that me as an NQT, now through to taking part in the MPQH programme, has been supported by EAS with a range of PL opportunities throughout the entire 14 years. So there's been a plethora of opportunities that I've been able to say that I've valued, taken on board, and now utilised as a leader within the region. But as well as that, the PL opportunities that I've been able to promote and support, to the point where I am developing a regional programme because EAS have valued the work of practitioners. There is guidance, they are supporting, they're making sure that the commonality between language and delivery is accurate, but they are valuing the profession and the people who are on the ground running and have asked us and are endorsing the fact that we are the ones that are delivering these programmes and really valuing the knowledge that we have. I mean, there's been a huge transitional shift. There's been a lot of PL. We promote PL within our school. We give time, we've built it into the timetable. We're ensuring that the opportunities that our staff get are really helpful in terms of their current position, but also in looking at developing them as leaders as well at all levels, from our HLTAs, teaching assistants, right the way through to developing our staff as leaders.
And I think certainly all the PL opportunities we've been given have ensured improved outcomes for learners. I think firstly, as a head teacher with budget constraints, the one thing the EAS have done is supported with funding. Now funding has enabled teachers, support staff to be released to undertake professional learning opportunities, and what they've done is it's gone from just having a day out on a course to all of a sudden having full professional learning opportunities to impact back in school. So that's the first thing, is the funding has allowed us to do that. The culture shift has also been a huge benefit to us because, as I said, we have HLTAs now that are trained by the EAS that are coming back into school and leading, planning, teaching as effectively as teachers, and that has certainly improved practice here and helped save a lot of money by not having supply teachers in.
For us, we realised that in terms of professional learning, there needs to be a really good understanding of the fact that this is transitional and it is forever changing and evolving, particularly if you take, for example, the subject of IT. I mean, we'll never be quite up to speed with it. We'll always be finding new changes and challenges that come along with that. And so we've really encouraged practitioners to be proactive with seeking different professional learning opportunities that they wish to engage in. We've built that into the timetable. We have a HLTA dedicated to allowing staff members time out of the classroom. So we've made sure that there is no dip in terms of us and our standards with the covering in HLTA, but allowing practitioners the opportunity to engage in a range of opportunities. There's a huge PL calendar that is promoted through AS, and that really does help others in signposting different areas. What the mechanism now in place through EAS is that we have a single point of contact. So if there is something within the region that could really benefit us as a school, we can go to that single point of contact that will then help to signpost us in the right direction to allow all PL opportunities to really be used to the best of their potential. So an area that we looked at within our cluster, but more specifically at Henllys to begin with, was assessment and progression. Within the curriculum and the huge transitional shift that has been in place, it was really key that we maintained a robust system for progression and assessment. As ESTIN guidance from Welsh Assembly stated, the learners should be highly involved within their learning journey and understanding where they are. And something that we really put a lot of value in was assessment for learning and the various strategies. As a school, we have a progressional system in place where there are 7 main strategies that are built upon throughout the school. In a cluster collaboration event, it was really looked at in the way that Henllys drive that through the school, and we were then asked if we would drive that across our cluster. In doing that, and as mentioned, we have been an LNS school for curriculum design, but the other area that was acknowledged was our assessment for learning protocols. So that has now been adopted through the cluster, and I lead the full cluster now within developing assessment and also with developing action plans for assessment for learning in their schools. That again has been recognised further than that due to the systems in place by EAS, and I now help to support schools across the region as a partner school with school-to-school support. So there's been not only impact for our learners here, who now speak very eloquently about their progression, and it's lovely to see, but also then across the cluster and further afield within EAS across the region.
And as a head teacher, seeing our school and our learners benefit from the systems that have been put in place for assessment for learning, it's now lovely to know that that's actually having an impact in a wider field on learners within the cluster and beyond. I think the best advice I can give is to know your school really well, identify your areas of strength, and those are the areas that you want to put yourself out there and say, come and have a look at us, this is excellent practice, come and collaborate with us, we can really support you. But it's also knowing your areas for development, because those are the areas really that your PL should focus on. And also, ultimately, in terms of PL, never lose sight of the whole idea is to improve outcomes for learners, so never lose sight of that.
I also think it's important that PL is valued and shown in its value by building in time to the timetable. As professionals, we're in a very busy, challenging job, and if leaders can allocate time and put that aside for professional learning, it really does help to ring fence it and make sure that it's done and done well. When we consider the process that we've been on, there has been huge collaboration, and we value the collaboration with others, and I think that that's probably the best way in moving forward, in realising that as a whole education system there's an awful lot out there for us to learn from, and it is sharing best practice, but also realising that people are out there that will help, can help direct, but you as professionals are also able to do that as well, so it's twofold. We ourselves at school have been on a huge journey here at Henllys, from a school that needed a lot of support to a school now that can give a lot of support. We've taken a lot from the region, and now we're able to give that back. So that's lovely for us in terms of our journey.